Well, Lee, back to London Road, Peterborough, former hunting ground of Newcastle's, and a pretty mixed hunting ground at that over the years, both in League and Cup.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, we remember the Sir Bobby Robson game when we beat them in the FA Cup 4-2.
Only Fry with his little sprint.
Yeah, fastest I've ever seen him. Well, the only time I think I've ever seen him run, actually, to be honest. But he did play once upon a time, I believe, didn't he? And then obviously the 1991-92 season, League Cup exit, beaten 1-0. Ken Charlery, was it?
That's right. Wallet stolen in the dressing room raid. Under Ozzy, wasn't it? I think
under Ozzy, his kids.
Mr. Fashion in for a trial, and that was his one appearance, a substitute appearance, I think. Didn't exactly cover himself in glory. And I also remember, though, in the league, certainly promotion year, 92-93, going down there, getting an excellent win. Kevin Sheedy, I think there was 8,000 Newcastle. That's right. Yeah, it was a Geordie invasion down the East Coast main line. Obviously, tomorrow night's a different kettle of fish. It's a cup game. Chris Hughton may look to sort of reshuffle things slightly just to keep things fresh again ahead of the trip to Ipswich on Saturday. Are you confident going to Peterborough?
Well, when the draw was getting made and the teams were coming out, I was just thinking, please just let's have a nice home draw against somebody not very good sort of thing. But Peterborough away from home, for me that's a tricky game, and I think it's all set up for. I'm surprised it's not a televised game, to be honest, because it is set up for a cup upset. I think that Peterborough have done absolutely magnificent the last couple of years to get sort of successive promotions under Darren Ferguson, and we talk about home form. Well, their home form's pretty spectacular, isn't it? I think they beat Reading at the weekend.
That's right. Yeah, they started really a difficult start to life in the Championship. Seem to be getting to grips with it now, and as you say, down there, reasonably tight little ground, quite a traditional ground. The fans are on top of you. I remember there was a great atmosphere, obviously, in the FA Cup game down there a few years ago. There will be again. I think if Newcastle had been a Premier League club still, then it would be guaranteed to be on the TV, because it's ripe for an upset, you'd think. Yeah,
definitely.
What I'd hope for is that the new work ethic that Newcastle seems to have really installed in the dressing room this season, after everything that happened last season, when people seem to be pulling in opposite directions. You'd hope that would carry them through tomorrow night.
Well, they're certainly capable, no matter what team. There's sort of a lot of different permutations that Chris Hughton can sort of do for this game, and whoever he picks, I do think they're capable of getting through. You've got people like Nicky Butt sat on the bench who has been there, done it, got the T-shirt, and he could come back in and square things up in the midfield. But Andy Carroll's on fire at the moment. You can't really drop him. Nile Ranger's chomping at the bit to get in there. His first goal will come. I'm quite convinced about that. And then you've got kids like Thomas Qatar who are out there trying to prove a point as well. So, and we all know about Tim Krull now after West Brom. I think he had a bit more of a bit of a different experience in the Huddersfield game, when there was maybe it was probably the best thing that could have happened to him, really, because you're not going to keep a clean sheet every week and get man of the match, are you? Really? So him coming into it, he's been brought down to earth back, and he'll be desperate to play. So it's all teed up quite nicely for the kids to go out there and help Newcastle get through.
Personally, I'd like to see him give Ranger and Carroll a run together up front. It might be an opportunity to do that ahead of a league game that might be more important in some people's eyes. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I think the crowd were more or less. I know Kevin Nolan played as a centre forward for much of the game, but for me it was still very 4-5-1. The way he kept sort of dropping back in, which is only natural because he's a midfielder and he does tend to make them runs, but. 4-4-2 is, I think, what the fans want to see. The two banks of four, and as you say, the two up front, Carroll and Ranger, which is for me a very exciting partnership.
With the right service, could be devastating.